Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ Envy, Angela Yee, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. We have a special guest on the line.
That's right.
Iyanla Vanzant. Welcome.
Thank you. How are you? Grand Rising. Grand Rising.
Same to you. Dang, so you ending Fix My Life? This the final season?
Yes, I'm out.
You tired of fixing people's
You
lives?
seem very happy.
Yeah, I'm very clear. It's run its course. It did what it needed to do. And now I get to have a summer off for the first time in 12 years.
Were you tired of fixing people's lives? Was that what it was? It was giving you too much stress of dealing with everybody else's problems and heartache and...
No, I love people. And I think that, that's my purpose. I love teaching, and that's what I got to do. You just got to know when it's time to go. You just got to know. I know that Fix My Life changed the television, the genre of reality TV. What we did and what we brought to the platform has never been done. And I'm sure it'll be done again, but not by me.
How you think you're going to continue to serve once the show is over, meaning helping people?
I'm teaching. I'm getting ready to do a huge workshop on sexual abuse trauma, doing it online. The pandemic, just taught us a powerful gift about online. So now I have to know how to do more than turn the computer on. Yeah. So
Oh no, finish what you were saying.
No, I said I will continue to teach, and I train coaches, I train ministers. I'll continue to write, just not at a hectic pace. You know what it's like to have to get up every day and be somewhere before
Absolutely.
you
Right.
cooties out there.
I feel you. Now, let me ask you this. Obviously, you had a very popular episode with DMX, and unfortunately, he did pass. So what were your thoughts when that happened?
When he passed, or when we had the episode?
Oh, when he passed.
Oh, he was anointed, but he had never been consecrated, meaning that anointing had never been honored and recognized. And unfortunately, he was rewarded for bad behavior. But I saw the soft sides of him when he talked about his grandmother. People don't know that. And he could pray the paint off the wall.
Facts.
Okay. He was so anointed. So, he's resting, and he left a powerful legacy. But he's also a cautionary tale about how we need to take better care of each other and call each other on our stuff.
I remember when you said that you were disobedient to what your inner guidance was telling you to do when it came to dealing with DMX. What was that?
To consecrate him. We had an entire process that we were going to take him through. But unfortunately, the location that we chose for the show had no heat. Dougie Fresh agreed to come in. Ice-T was going to come in so that some of his peers and partners could really bless him and consecrate that anointing. I had a whole group of men to come in. And because the house was cold, we didn't do it. We didn't do the consecration.
You got to walk us through what a consecration is.
Yeah,
I'm not that involved in my spirituality.
Yeah, I didn't know what consecration
You need to
is.
stop it. Most of us were baptized as babies. Or
okay.
Yeah, but when you're older, and particularly because he had a ministering spirit. I mean, he really had a ministering spirit. Meaning his speaking was to the soul. His writing was from the soul. So I was just going to do, in the ancient traditional African way, wash him, anoint his head with oil, pray over him, and change his name.
Right.
Did you have a name in mind?
No, I wouldn't have known the name until we had done the ceremony. Then I would have asked.
Wow. Wow.
What do you find when you're doing Fix My Life? There's sometimes that people are very open. Like I felt like in this season, Lisa Ray was very open to hearing everything that you had to say and making the changes that she needs to make and receptive. But then there are people who are very resistant. Yeah, resistant to that. What do you find more pleasure in when people are open or breaking down those walls to people who are so resistant to actually digging deeper?
Well, you remember, you see 48 minutes of maybe 3 or 4 days. everybody's resistant. You know, the piece, you may not see that piece, but you're bearing your soul in front of the public. That's not an easy thing to do.
That's right.
So I've learned, you know, after years and years and years of doing this work, to meet people where they are and push them, pull them, drag them, kick them forward. So when I meet the resistance, I have to see what kind of resistance it is. And then I have to know whether to push, pull, drag, kick, and to get them to move to the next play.
How long does it take for somebody to trust you? Because, you know, you're talking to somebody that you don't know, and it's hard to open up your feelings and gain that trust. So how long does it usually take for somebody to say, you know what, I'm going to open up and trust this individual?
Well, you know what? On the Fix My Life set, I always have what I call prayer warriors. Somebody there holding the space, calling in the energy. And each person is different. But, you know, I meet them, and then I have the weapons of the bosoms. Once I lay that head in the bosom, they going down. They going down. That's my secret weapon.
That's a secret weapon.
Bosoms and a hug. Yeah. So it really all depends on the person. But usually you don't come that far without trusting. Mm-hmm. They trust me in the beginning. I cannot tell you the thousands upon thousands of letters that we got where people said, I've never spoken to anybody about this. You know what an honor that is for me? You've never spoken to anybody and you're going to write this to me? So we always try to respect and honor the guests. But by the time they write me, they're trusting me. What happens is they get there, see those cameras, and they go into fear. And that's what I usually had to dismantle was the fear.
Gotcha. You know, Queen, you laughing, but something about the bosom does bring a person back to like that childlike nature. Yeah,
because you know your first 9 months of your life you spent under the bosom, and maybe the first 2 years of your life you ate at the bosom. You know, so the bosoms are mothering and nurturing, you know, and it don't even matter what size. If you are bring the love to that place. And the other thing is the bosoms are right over the heart.
Ooh.
So it's a heart to heart connection. I don't care who you are. You lay your head there and you hear that heartbeat. You just surrender.
That's right. That's right. I want to talk to you about something I be talking to my therapist about, because I often wonder, can a person truly be healed from every life experience? Do you ever get to a place of wholeness, or do you just get close to it?
When you get to wholeness, you're dead.
Wow.
You die.
Wow.
You're complete. Everything here is a lesson. That's why we're here. So you never can, when you do all that you've come to do, you'll exhale and you won't inhale again. Now, what changes, I think, is maybe what you're asking me, Charlamagne, is does it get easier? You know, does it get easier? Whereas in my 20s and 30s, I used to fall apart if a relationship, you know, went bad. Now I help them pack. Bye. Because I know people come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And when that reason or that season is over, it's time to go. I didn't know that when I was 20 and 30, hanging on somebody's ankle, trying to keep them from going. So what happens is you learn the lesson, and then the next time you face the situation, you apply what you've learned so that you can learn some more. And then they'll come back again. And you get better and better each time.
Wow.
You know, it's interesting because along those lines, I saw you write on Twitter, the only true way to create a more loving, productive, and fulfilling life is by forgiving the past, right? But what if whoever hurt you in the past is, you know, not wanting forgiveness, still doing things that are hurting you? How do you forgive the past?
Well, you don't see, the impression is that you have to forgive the other person. How about forgiving yourself for participating? How about that? Start there, because everybody comes into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. So something in your soul called this experience forward. But when you're focused on what they did or what he did, she did, what's going on outside, you don't get a chance to look inside. Every bad relationship I've had, I was by voluntary participation. Every difficult situation that I'm in, if I get still enough, I can go back and say, okay, this is how I contributed to it. So forgive yourself instead of worrying about the other person.
Why do you feel it's not easy for people to leave those situations? Because we could talk about it after the situations. It's so easy to discuss after. But why do you think when people are in those situations, they can't say, you know what, I'm out, or I can't leave? Is it comfortability? What do you think the reason is?
Because the number one human fear is the loss of love. That's a bone-wrenching fear. So when we think we're in love, or we think we love something or someone, to let it go raises fear. And fear is the ultimate tool of the ego. And fear will make you believe, oh, you're going to die, your eyes are going to fall out, you're going to end up in the park with the squirrels. So we will hold on. And the human mind loves comfort and familiarity, even if it stinks and it's toxic. If it's familiar, what's the saying? Better the devil you know than the one you don't know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll stay there because it's comfortable and it's familiar, and that means we have control.
So many women think there's no such thing as a man who doesn't cheat, and that's what you're saying, like as far as the devil you know as opposed to the devil you don't know, and they'll stay in a situation because they're like, well, all men cheat anyway, so I might as well stay with this person who is taking care of me. At least I know who they are as a person, instead of trying to get into a whole new situation and it happens to me all over again. What do you have to say about that?
Well, I don't believe in cheating. I want to know, what agreements did we have? Did we have an agreement and a commitment that this was a monogamous relationship? And if we did, and you violated that agreement and you violated that commitment, that tells me that you don't have no integrity. And that don't have nothing to do with me. And I don't choose to be in relationship with people who surrender their integrity, who don't have integrity. Women take on the cheating as though it has something to do with him. You got to look at this person and say, okay, this person's got integrity issues. This person has issues with honesty. Is that something I want to deal with? And if you're going to deal with it, stay and stop complaining. I don't believe in cheating. I believe in violation of agreement, and I believe in broken commitments.
Well, I'm glad you don't believe in cheating, because black men don't cheat. So.
No, I don't think they do. I think that
they violate commitments.
Yeah, they violate commitments. They have difficulty with commitments. And in this country where they're educated, programmed, and conditioned, dehumanized, devalued, most brothers are struggling with their personal integrity, their personal value, and their personal worth. And that's why they use Mr. Man and his two friends to try to garner up some worth and value.
Wow.
What are your thoughts on, I was watching the funeral of DMX, and his ex-wife spoke, and she talked about the demons in the industry. Yeah. And people following those demons. What are your thoughts on that? Because the industry is very demonic and very negative in a lot of ways.
Yeah. I wonder. This is a wondering. No heat, no judgment, I promise you. No heat, no judgment. I wonder what would have happened had the producer said to him, you come in here high, you can't hit my stage. I ain't paying you. I wonder what would have happened had we called him on his stuff. So I don't know if there are demons in the industry, but there sure is a lot of incentive to lose yourself. Eminem, lose yourself in the music, the moment, to get the external validation. Fame is a drug. It's a drug. Sometimes I think it's worse than crack or heroin. People lust after it. They'll do anything for it. And then all of the trappings that go along with it. That's why I buy my own groceries. I go to the supermarket. I pump my own gas, because I don't even want to entertain the demon of celebrity, because it's a drug and many people chase it. So I understand what she says, but we can't blame the industry. Individuals have to come to the table as healthy as possible. And we have to have strong yeses and strong nos and clear boundaries.
I think what you said is very true. You got to come into a situation as healthy as possible, because money, fame, it doesn't change you. It just multiplies whatever it is that you are. So if you came in as an addict, it's probably just going to multiply that addiction. So how do you get somebody help if they didn't even come in as a healthy version of themselves?
Well, again, it goes to, I have a student one time and she was behaving badly and people were talking about her behind her back. And when we carefronted her about the situation, you know what she said? Turned to her fellow students and she said, "Don't let me die. Don't let me die.
Damn.
When you see me putting myself in harm's way, call me out. Call me out. Don't let me die." We let him die. Him and so many others. We let them die because we didn't call them out on their stuff.
But what if you call them out and they still don't want to get help?
Create clear boundaries. A producer should not, you can always say, you come here high, you can't go on my stage. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to subject my audience to you. You come here clean, straight, or you don't go on the stage. Cancel a contract. Put it in the contract. And I'm just saying that in that particular industry, but it's in everywhere. It's in television, it's in movies, and it's the drug of external validation. So when people come broken, how many young artists do we have, or artists in general? I mean, I can go all the way back to Billie Holiday and Ray Charles, who were broken. And in a culture where you're not supposed to talk about your private business, you don't want people to know your weaknesses, and we self-medicate. So when we recognize it, managers, agents, assistants, because look at R. Kelly.
Absolutely.
Another thing, you mean to tell me nobody can say, "Yo, brother, I'm not participating in that."
Mm-hmm.
What you doing?
Absolutely.
Don't let him die.
Wow.
We're talking about business relationships, right? But when it comes to friendships, if you have somebody that is struggling and has a lot of demons, addictions, and things that they're dealing with, there's just this balance of wanting to make sure that you don't leave them for dead and help them and support them, but also not put yourself in a situation where that's all you're doing is trying to help them and it's harming yourself. How do you establish when it's time for you to walk away, or do you walk away?
I do. I do. You know why? And this is an old saying that works for me. It's hard to watch someone that you love hit rock bottom. But don't forget, God made the rock. What if their lesson is at rock bottom?
Right.
What if their lesson is all alone with nobody? What if that's the moment that the Creator can step in? And because we can't do it, as human beings, we can barely save ourselves from a bag of Lay's potato chips. Now, if somebody asks you for support, but how long do you drag yourself? So don't forget, God made the rock. Sometimes the lesson is at rock bottom.
What is the key to finding healing?
Well, how are you defining healing? Healing for me is to restore to wholeness and availability for original purpose.
But you say that don't happen until you die. Wholeness.
Well, no, healing
okay,
doesn't happen until you absolutely die. And wholeness, when you are dead, you are whole. I guess I haven't been dead in this lifetime, so I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of the healing work and the process of healing, what is our original purpose? Our original purpose is to awaken to our God self, to celebrate life, and to do what brings us joy. So the closer that you get to that, and most of us struggle through life trying to accomplish something, have something, and never get to that place where we just have joy. And one of the things that I want to do when I leave Fix My Life, I haven't had a summer off in 12, maybe 14 years. I'm telling you, not a summer. I wouldn't know the beach if it bit me on my butt. Because we started working. I worked June, July, and then we start shooting in August every day. So I want joy. Right. I want to go to the beach. I want to eat popsicles, the one with the 2-stick. I want to walk my dog. You see it over there.
So does the show not give you joy like that, or?
Oh yes, it did, but it was work.
Yeah.
I love what I do. This is Pete.
Hey, Pete.
Hey.
Peace. I name my dogs for what I want. This is peace, and my other one is freedom.
Peace.
Oh, peace.
Wow.
Okay.
Peace, yeah.
I thought she said Pete
I
also.
thought she said Pete
No,
too.
no.
But
Come, baby.
how do you know when it's time though? Like what made you say, okay, this is the last season? Was it a day that you woke up and were like, okay, I'm not doing this anymore? How did you know?
Well, you know, when you're serving God's people, you got to be in good relationship with God. So I take my direction from God. So I was praying one day and the Holy Spirit said, this is done.
Mm.
And I was like, what? What exactly would you be speaking of, sir? You know, and I knew, and it was done. So I had to work with that. You know, I'm a Black woman, almost 70 years old, with a national platform on a network owned by a Black woman. How do you walk away from that? So I had to really work with it. And then I had to remember why I went there, what my intention was. And that intention was met. That purpose was met. And it was getting harder and harder. And it was work. I love it. I had a great time, great crew, but it's just time to go. I could stay another 5-10 years if I wanted to, but you know what? I'm old. I can't remember where I put my glasses.
You know, Queen, the reason I asked you about the healing thing is because it's like, you know, I can go to therapy, you know, I can meditate, I do all of these things, but it'd be like one thing that you might hear, you know, from the past, or one person you thought that, you know, you had healed from, and you hear something or see them and it triggers you and it feels like it brings you right back to that bad place again. So I'm like, damn, do you ever get to a place of just healedness?
Can I ask you a question? You don't have to respond.
Okay.
I would encourage you to ask your therapist or your whatever, you know, the person you're working with. Are you doing healing work or are you doing growth work? There's a distinction between growth work, meaning growing beyond where you were, growing into something new, getting a whole new perspective. Whereas healing work is releasing, clearing, neutralizing. And healing work is not intellectual. It's energetic.
That's right.
So there has to be a lot of energetic work that goes on. All right. So yes, the prayer and the meditation and the therapy is good, but ask your therapist, are we doing healing work? They're both great. Or are we doing growth work? Because when you do growth work, you get to that moment when that thing is neutralized. You've uprooted it from the root and the cause. That's healing work. Growth work is you learn how to manage and move through situations with a different response.
Yeah, I would say I've been doing a lot of growth work. I have a sacred purpose coach, and I have a lot of, you know, people around me that are in the mindfulness space who've been telling me for the longest I got to do more healing work to move move that trauma through my body. So
yes. That's why, you know, starting next week, actually, this week, I'm doing a 5-day process on releasing trauma. Just releasing the energy of trauma so that the healing can occur. Because it's hard to heal when you have the energy of the trauma in your body and in your mind. Oof. You've got to do the healing work to release the trauma so that you can then create balance. As long as the trauma's there, that imprint, it's really hard to do healing work because you re-trigger it all the time. Yeah.
Can Black people ever be trauma-free? When we live in a world, when we're watching videos of us getting assassinated every other day, can we ever be trauma-free in this country?
Well, I don't know if we can be trauma-free, but we certainly can have a different response to it. And nobody's doing that work. You know, it's traumatic for me. It's even more traumatic for me as a mixed person. I'm Black and Native American. And what's going on in my Native American community right now is just, you don't even hear about it. I don't know which is worse, hearing it and seeing it or not hearing it and seeing it.
Right.
So, but we can respond differently to it. I have a very different response to George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery and Sandra Bland than I had to Amadou Diallo and Eleanor Bumpurs that people don't even speak about. Okay, so I have a very different response now and how I take it in and what I do with it.
Have you ever done things like ayahuasca or work with like a shaman to, people go on these retreats and they do the ayahuasca? Have you tried that?
I don't know what ayahuasca is, but I am a Native American, so I don't even know what that is. Is that like the
What about?
420? Is that
Is it like?
the 420? Y'all know about the 420?
The weed?
Yeah, I don't know what it is. So I heard it and then I just
420
smiled.
is a day when
420 is
celebrate
a day where everybody
marijuana.
smoke
Yeah,
weed.
they celebrate marijuana
Oh, is that
on
what it
420.
is?
She's not talking about that. She's talking about
I don't
another
know.
drug. What is
Somebody
it?
said,
It's like I think it's a plant or something like that. Let me see, ayahuasca. It's a brew made from these shrubs, but like say shrooms or something like that. You know how sometimes people will do mushroom tea and then have these experiences, and then next thing you know, that I haven't done it, but I've always seen people doing it, and they start like crying, and all these things come out of you. It's like spirituality, spiritual medicine.
well, no, I haven't done that. I've done a whole bunch of other stuff.
But what is your take on things like marijuana? Because is that, you know, 'cause
Happy flowers?
huh?
Happy flowers.
Like, do you think that, you know, because some people use that as a treatment to their therapy. So what are your thoughts on people using marijuana?
I grew up, I smoked so much weed. Is that what it's called? We called it reefer.
Yeah.
They don't call it reefer.
Okay.
No, they call it weed
That
now. No
works.
reefer.
You can call it reefer, whatever you want to call it.
I smoked so much weed growing up till the tips of my fingers was brown.
I don't have nothing. I don't have no problem with plant-based medicine.
You know, but and then I got to the point where, you know, I just didn't need anymore. I don't drink, I don't smoke. You know what? I don't have any judgments about anything.
Mm-hmm.
What I have judgments about, or what I have upset with, is how people are criminalized. I've had soup with marijuana. If you go up in the hills in Kingston, Jamaica, you're gonna have some happy flowers in your soup, in your tea,
Yeah.
in your iced tea, and your curry chicken, and your goat everywhere. So I don't, you know, but here, let's tell the truth. The big people, whoever they are, were angry because the little people were making money selling it.
That's right.
Okay. So it had to be criminalized. And so now, now that it's legalized and the big dispensaries, it's amazing to me. I don't have no heat about it. I love happy flowers if you love it. I don't, you know, like I said, I smoked enough when I was young. My fingertips were brown.
Wow.
Okay.
I got a couple more questions for you, Queen. And number one, you recently tweeted forgiveness addresses how we think and feel about others and ourselves and how those thoughts manifest within our lives. Can you expound on that a little bit?
Yeah, you know, when you have unforgiveness in your heart, you use a lot of energy because first of all, you're thinking about the person, you're ruminating in it, and then you get angry. You know, you haven't been mad at somebody, ain't seen them since God left Chicago, and you just start thinking about them, and the next thing you know, you are sour as a
Story of my life.
right, you know. So and then unforgiveness makes you angry at yourself and your inability to do anything about something that's already happened.
That's right.
It's already happened. And now you're still thinking about, well, why didn't I say this? And why didn't I do it? And that shouldn't happen. And they shouldn't. So unforgiveness, I think the only thing worse than unforgiveness is bad credit. That unforgiveness, you in trouble. That and your 562 credit score, you're not going to get too far.
Not at all. Evie's like, yep, that's right. But you know what? I was going to say what works for me is having empathy for other people who have done things that I feel like were wrong to me. Is I look at the situations that they're in and I kind of try to analyze why they may have done what they did. And instead of me being angry at them for that, I have more empathy for them because I analyze why they did it. And it kind of helps me more than anything. That's the method that I've been using.
Well, you know what? When somebody hurts me or upsets me or betrays me, violates me, their psychosocial history don't matter to me. I really don't care why they did it. Okay. What I look at is how am I going to hold this within myself? Because that is the only thing I have dominion over. I don't have dominion over why, because your mama left you and bought you generic cookies that you treating me like this. No. That's your psychosocial history. How am I going to hold it? And how am I going to be in relationship with you? And that's compassion, because that means that I'm not going to participate in my own suffering. And compassion requires that we recognize someone's suffering and then take action to alleviate it. And sometimes the action to alleviate someone's suffering is to leave them alone so that they don't create no more suffering for you.
Oof.
Yeah, 'cause sometimes I look at it like it's their problem more than it's mine, right? Like it's more problems that they might have rather than who I am as a person.
Or they
And that's
just may be
kind
crazy as hell. Either way, how am I going to respond? That's the big thing. How am I going to respond? Yeah.
I was going to say, I was watching one of your episodes, right, where the couple was married, and it feels like he didn't want to be married anymore. He wanted to get out of the marriage. You think every couple feels like that at some point in a marriage?
Oh, yes. Absolutely. Because we go into marriages for the wrong reason. We go into the marriage thinking that the other person can make us be or feel or do a certain thing. We don't go into marriages all the time as equals. We go in looking, it's like an exchange, a give and a take. I give you, I get as opposed to equals. And as equals, you'll have good days, I'll have good days. You'll have bad days, I'll have bad days. Hopefully they won't be running at the same time. So I think that if we go into a marriage or a relationship and understand that that person's needs and wants and desires are just as important as mine, and that your partner's needs and wants and desires, and what we all want is peace and joy and to express ourselves authentically. And so sometime to do that, you've been looking at somebody for 16 years and I can't express myself authentically with you today. I'm just tired of looking at you. Don't breathe.
Gotcha.
Don't breathe.
Yeah, one more.
This is my last question, Queen, and it ties into the forgiveness question I asked. How do you view grace? Because I feel like we don't give each other enough grace nowadays.
You know, grace is when let me put it this way. Mercy is when you get what you don't deserve.
Oof.
That's mercy. And grace is when you don't get what you do deserve. Because sometimes we deserve a little pow-pow on the butt, you know? Mm-hmm. And grace is not this time. Mm-hmm. And sometimes, and so I think, you know, the mere fact that we can inhale and exhale, that's grace. Because the distinction between the living and the dead is that inhale. That's the distinction. Because no matter how you get there, shot, stab, poison, suicide, whatever, the moment of transition or death is the same for everybody. I don't care who you are. You exhale and you don't inhale. So the fact that we are inhaling and exhaling, that's grace. Some of the things that I've done in my life that I didn't get pow-powed for, that's grace, you know? And some of the things that I refused to do and I still got rewarded for, that's mercy. So I don't think we give enough grace to each other but a lot of times we can't give the grace because we don't have the forgiveness.
Wow. No, you're right. You're right.
Well, Iyanla, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it.
I love being with y'all.
Always a pleasure.
And you still have to come, even though we know Fix My Life, you know, this is the final season, but you are still doing work. So you're always welcome to come on the show. And
Charlamagne, ask your therapist about that. Are you doing growth work or healing work? I will. And healing work is a whole nother animal.
It is. That's what I got to get to, the healing work. I love you, Queen, and I value you, and I appreciate you, and I can't wait to see you.
Good, Let me. Did you write your book, Envy?
Did I write it?
I saw you. Did you write your book? Weren't you writing a book?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You and your wife?
Yep. We're still writing now. We're like 98% done.
Okay.
How did you know?
Okay. I saw your story with you and your wife.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no.
I don't pray all the time. I watch things.
Yeah, man, we're 98% done. It's
take your time.
It's a great one. We're happy. You know, we wanted it to come out this year. We've been married 20 years. This is our 20th
Wow.
anniversary. Yeah, so we wanted it to come out for our 20th anniversary, but we can't travel, and this is one of the ones where we want to talk to people and talk to couples and just talk about everything, the good, the bad, the ugly, how we dealt with things, the wrong moves, the right moves, and everything. So we're
The
gonna
pow
push it-
pows.
We're gonna put to the bosom, like and like you said, sometimes the bosom conversations, put me back where I needed to be. So the 21st, we're gonna release it on the 21st anniversary.
And please, and please do that, Envy, because I think when I saw your story, I was like, wow, a lot of brothers need to hear what he's saying. You were so authentic, and you too, Charlamagne. You talked about your stuff. That's so beautiful, because a lot of men can't hear me. Right. A lot of brothers can't hear me, but when they understand that another brother can be a soft place for them to fall, and when they see themselves in you, that's very helpful. So good. I appreciate you. Thank you, both of you, so much.
Well, thank you so
Queen.
Much. Charlamagne, you my brother. You always got a soft place to land with me, brother.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Love, Queen.
Bye.
All right, peace.